This tape has been copyrighted. Any duplication or reproduction without written consent is prohibited.
So let me just go over these points kind of quick here, because this is important. I wanted to, the topic of my talk today is recruiting, dedicating yourself to being great. And I mentioned that in my little thing I did right there earlier, right? So my point is, you need to dedicate yourself to being great, all right? That's what anybody that becomes great at anything, that's what they all do, okay? Tiger Woods made a commitment to be great, right? He's not interested in, anything but greatness, right? If you look at right now, I don't know if you follow golf, okay? I'm a golf nut, all right? So it really resonates with me, okay? Guess what? Tiger Woods is now number 3 in the world. He was number 1 for a huge stretch, number 1 for for years, right? For last 5 years. Not only is he not number 1, he's now number 3. Okay, Vijay Singh made a commitment to be great. Okay, so Vijay Singh practiced like nobody since Ben Hogan, probably, right? He worked so hard on his game the last 10, 15 years. It's ridiculous. He didn't even win a tournament until he was 30. Tiger's won 40-some. He's not even 30 yet, okay? But Vijay didn't win his first tournament until he was over 30, and he's won 8 times this year. And has won 9 million something, probably going to end up being the first player to ever win over 10 million, and may have a shot at still winning 10 times on the PGA Tour, which is unbelievable today with the competition the way it is, okay? And so what happened is he made a commitment to being great. And if you look at Lance Armstrong, would you think he's made a commitment to being great or to being good, right? I mean, you think about that. Same thing with Michael Jordan back in the day, right? And all these different people, or anybody, there's 20 different sports or things that at some point people make a commitment to being great. They're not interested in being good. Okay, so you have to, at some point, if you're going to have a great business, make that commitment. I don't know what that means to you, but you're going to have to, okay? So, and it's the good news is something you can do. There's some things you have to do. You have to master getting clients and agents to understand our products clearly and why they should own them. That's one thing you have to do, right? Because when the new agent gets on an appointment, if they don't have the ability to get the client to understand our products and why they're good for them, then they're not going to have any success. So you've got to have that part of the process. That's got to be in there somewhere, right? And then you have to make that's part of it. The second part is you got to make a career-long commitment to recruiting and building. You have to make a career-long commitment to recruiting and building. You need to come to the conclusion, come to the decision that your business is recruiting and building. It's not selling financial products, okay? When you talk to people and they ask you, what do? You know, your first thing out of your mouth shouldn't say, I market mutual funds, life insurance, and home loans. That's not what you do, okay? What you do is you teach people how to build successful financial service businesses and how to make $100,000 to $1 million a year or more if they're motivated. That's what you do, right? That's what I do. I don't sell financial products. I teach people to build financial services business. I have people ask me, what do you do, Hector? I teach people how to build financial service business, how to make big income, how to make $100,000 to $1 million a year or more. That's what I teach people how to do. You with me? That's what I see myself as doing. I don't see myself as a mutual fund expert, a loan expert, or a life insurance expert. Do we market those products? Absolutely. Do we do a good job of that? Absolutely, okay? But that's not what Hector does. That's not what I've ever done. I've always been focused on trying to find people to recreate myself, to duplicate myself, okay? That's what I really want to do because that's where I was clear that freedom came from, okay? So, the first thing is, why do you want to get recruiting going? I mean, I think it's important that when you're talking to your teammates that you explain to them why they should be a recruiter, all right? Why should you be a recruiter? You got to sell yourself on why you should be a recruiter. First thing is, because appointments become effortless when you recruit people. That's the grind in Primerica is appointment setting, isn't it? Come on, think about it. You hate more than setting appointments. When I first got started in the business, I was great at setting appointments and I hated doing it. I never liked setting appointments, ever. Didn't like it, didn't enjoy it. It wasn't something. So I figured early, if I recruit people and I teach them how to set up appointments, then they can set the appointments. The appointments were easy for me because I was great at that, right? If they'll set the appointments and they have good more market, then all I have to do is go and do the presentation, close the business, recruit the people, and then they'll think they're having it easy because they think the hard part is knowing all the information, where I really know the hard part is setting the appointment. So I'll make them feel like they're doing the easy part and I'm doing the hard part. You think I'm kidding? That's exactly what I did. That's exactly what I thought. Because the new person, they go, well, yeah, I could set an appointment, but they couldn't do the appointment because that to them scared them to death, to have to know all that stuff, right? Not to know all the answers. I already knew all the answers. I just didn't like setting the appointments. So I recruited people so they could set appointments for me. And then I knew once we set the appointments and they took me on 10 appointments, that I was going to close 6, 8, 9 sales, and I was going to recruit 2 or 3 people, and then that would lock the new recruit into the business. I'd lock them in from that. Setting an appointment. What's your name? Aaron. So how do you set appointments? So Aaron, you have 10 people in your life that like you, trust you enough that if you called them, they would sit down with you? Okay. So call them up and you call your buddy, Bill. Hey, Bill, this is Hector. Listen, I'm getting started in this business. I'm incredibly excited about it. And, I need you to take a look at it. I might even be thinking about making a career change, doing this as a career. And before I make that kind of commitment, I just would like you to take a look at it and tell me what you think about it. When can we get together? That's it. See, you think it's this complicated thing. The key is, I asked the question, do you have 10 people that like you and trust you enough that if you call them, they would sit down with you for 20 or 30 minutes? That's all you got to ask. If somebody doesn't have that, they say, well, I don't know, then don't recruit them. Why would you recruit somebody that doesn't have 10 people in their life that like them and trust them enough that they would sit down with them? Right? And then you make them make the calls to those 10 people and set the appointments. And then what? And then you go do your magic on the appointment. That's all you do, right? It's a piece of cake. That's what you do. The next thing is, it does for you, why recruit? Why make a commitment to recruiting? Because production becomes effortless. Appointments become effortless, and production becomes effortless, and the quality of the production improves. Right? The quality of the production improves along with the production becoming effortless. That's the big part of it. You want to do production, then recruit good people that have credibility, and you've been doing, Kurt, you've been doing well the last, 2 or 3 or 4 months. You've been recruiting people and field training. The production's pretty effortless, right? It's not hard to do, right? Okay? The next thing is, growing your codes is the only way to grow your business. You cannot grow your business without growing your codes. Rick said that his codes got all the way down to 15. Is that what you said, right? And now what is it back up to? 116. So he's grown his codes, and all of a sudden now he's doing 60 grand and 80 recruits, right? Well, with 15 codes, he can't do it. Not possible to do the numbers without the code numbers. You have to have the code numbers. You have to focus on the code numbers, okay? By the way, if you want to increase your recruit to code ratio, you need to do what I talked about, getting the new people in the field. The better job you do with getting new people in the field, the better your recruit to code ratio will be. People's recruit to code ratios are horrifying for the most part because they do a very poor job of getting the new person in the field. That's why they can't get anybody coded, because the new person, what they do is they put the new person in school, and the new person goes, this sucks, I hate this is awful. They don't even know what our business is. They think that's our business, right? Where the person that gets a new person in the field, the new person in the field is going, that's awesome what we did for these people. I can't believe these guys fed us, and they loved what we did, and they walked us out of our car, and they gave us a hug on the way out, and man, this is incredible. That person, right, and plus we recruit a couple people for them, they're totally excited. They want to get a code number. They want to get their license. They'll be much more likely to go through the process of getting a code number and a license than if they go right into school. That's why you don't ever want to get people in school right away. You want to get them in the field if you want to retain people, if you want to get code numbers. Okay? Next thing, it's the only way for your people to get promoted. Look, people can't get promoted without people. It's not possible. Production alone doesn't get a person promoted. And by the way, it's easier to do the production if they have the people, right? So if you want to produce districts and divisions and regional leaders and RVPs, you've got to get every single person in your team focused on building and recruiting so they can get promoted. right? You want promotions? What's more exciting than having 7, 8, 9, 10 promotions a month in your base shop? People moving up another level, making more money, having new teammates that are excited, setting appointments for them. Think about it. It's like thrilling. It's exciting, right? It's when you're grinding every appointment. You know, you're a transaction person and you're grinding all the time. It's a hassle. Okay, it's the only way for you to get promoted, right? If you're an RVP, how do you go to SVP? You got to produce 3 RVPs, okay? You can't get 3 RVPs unless recruiting and people getting coded is happening in a big way, right? I've been talking to Daniel. I said, Daniel, we need to get your recruiting to 200 a month. He's 70 or something. You did last month, 70, which is good, right, for a base shop. But it's not good with 4 RVPs, okay? That's not good. It needs to be 200, 250, 300, 400 recruits a month, okay? If you go back and you look at my first 5 years in Primerica, pay close attention to the recruiting numbers. The recruiting numbers exploded, especially the 3rd, 4th, and 5th year. They exploded. Guess what else exploded? My income exploded, okay? My income exploded. You can't keep doing this. If you're all like you recruited the same number of people this year as last year, and then the year before that, and it's always the same number. Well, you can't grow that way. It's got to grow, right? Okay. It's the only way for people to go full time. I added that because that's exactly right. Right? How could you get a person to go full time if they don't feel like they can recruit and get promoted to the next level? Right? If a person can see right away that they're a district when they get their license and they're going to be a regional leader in another 60 or 90 or 180 days, they're going to feel much more confident about going full time than if they don't think they can recruit a team and build a team. How are they going to go full? How are they going to have that feeling that I want to go full time? I can do this thing. They're not going to do it unless they're recruiting and building and developing people. Right? It's the only way to retain people. You want to retain people? Get them recruiting. Okay. The only people that end up look, there's some people. There's a couple of people that have left RVPs in our organization, right? And every one of them that's left to go do this HBW or whatever it is they're doing, okay? Every single one of them absolutely sucked at recruiting, okay? They're transaction people, okay? So guess what? They keep saying, I can't, well, if they're not focused on recruiting, right, they don't recruit, okay, so then eventually they just go, well, then this isn't happening for me here. They look outside. But if they were recruiting and developing people and their business was growing, what would they have left? Absolutely not, okay? You're not going to ever lose people if they're growing their business. You're only going to lose them if they're declining or they're going in the wrong direction, okay? It's the only way for your people to make money on overrides. The magic of Primerica, folks, is overrides. It's overrides. I just showed you that just a second ago. It's the overrides. I mean, wouldn't you, Alex, you're doing a great job, right? You and Mercy are doing an awesome job. Your base shop's growing, okay? And every time when you call me and I talk to you, what do I say to you? You got to get your recruiting up. Got to get your recruiting up. Got to get your recruiting up, right? How about Alan? What I tell you, you just don't have enough people. You need more people. You need more people, right? I mean, that's all I'm saying. Every time that's all I'm talking about, okay? And it's true. You got to get your recruiting up. You got to grow that. You need to get to the 30 and 40 recruits a month so that you can start producing RVPs. Because, look, you override people in your base shop, which is fun to do, right? But what if, Alex and Mercy, you were overriding 3 RVPs that had base shops like yours? Right? So that you're doing about 35 grand, right? More or less. Okay, so 35 times 3 is 105,000 plus your own base shop at that, right? So all of a sudden now you're an SVP maxing out on the first generation bonus. Right? And you've got the bulk of your income coming from 3 people, not your base shop. Now all of a sudden you've got a business that's worth something, that has value. Right now, you have a business that pays you a decent amount of money so far, okay, but it's not worth anything. You couldn't sell your business because you're the business right now. You are the business. And if you're out of the picture, there is no business. Okay, so that's, now, On the other hand, Daniel has a business that has some value because he's got you and Frank, and he's got you guys and new RVPs going right now. Okay, but he has a business that has some value. Okay, but you guys don't have a business that has any value right now. So you got to think, if I want freedom, Jerry, you got to start producing some RVPs, dude. And you're not going to produce them doing 10 recruits a month, because those 10 recruits are split up 5 different ways, which means you got your best guy recruiting 2. And how the hell are they going to go RVP with 2 recruits a month? It ain't happening. It's not going to happen. Okay, so it's the only way to build a business that has value. All right, that's the next one. I just mentioned that. You cannot help the masses without recruiting and building. Okay, so you could say, I'm in Primerica because I want to help people, and that's what I really care about. I'm not like Hector, who only cares about money. Right? You don't think some people think that? Huh? Absolutely, people think that. All Hector cares about is money. He doesn't really care about people. You know what? That's what some people think. You know how much that bothers me? Can you see between my fingers? Not even a little bit. Because they don't even have a clue about who I am. Right? None. All right? Because, look, I did, with my 2 businesses last month, I'd say probably about close to $3 million in premium. I don't know how many sales is that. That's a lot of sales. Right? It's like, what, 2,000, 3,000 sales or more. I don't know. It's a bunch of sales, okay? I probably did 3,000 to 4,000 sales last month, which means that my organization helped 3,000 to 4,000 to 5,000 families last month. Did plans for them, got them moving in the right direction, got them saving money, got them getting out of debt, got them insured properly if something happens. I mean, that's a lot of families, right? So if you want to help a lot of people, you got to build a big organization, right? Nobody in this room is helping more people than me directly or indirectly, not even close. Not even close. Okay? So you can say whatever you want to say, but the bottom line, when all the dust settles and you peel back the onion, my business helps more people than your business does. So what? At the end of the day, it's the numbers, baby. Okay? Okay? Yeah, but my intentions are better. Nobody cares about your intentions. Nobody cares about them, right? Especially your kids don't care about your intentions, or your wife or your husband. They could care less. Okay? It's the only way to max out the compensation. You can't max out the compensation unless you get recruiting, you get to SNSD. If you're not focused on SNSD, then you're missing it, okay? You got to get to SNSD. What do you have to do to be an SNSD? You have to have 9 first, okay? And you have to do a certain amount of, what's the production, George? You know what the production number is? 250. Okay, 250. Okay, 9 first. You guys shouldn't even think about taking a break till you got 9 first. 9 first is where it starts happening. Now you can start maxing out the comp right now. Because you get the 30% on your base, you get 30% on your first, you get the NSD bonus is 5%, and the NSD bonus is 2.5%, right? Well, that's a big number. When you start getting 7% of $1 million or whatever, it starts being a number, right? I mean, so you got to grow your business. And by the way, well, nobody has their first doing 30 grand, but if they got recruiting going, they would.
But you're going to have some base shops
do more. Yeah. Right. Yeah, like this month, I think that I might have done about, 270 to 80 through first, okay? And that's with basically with including my own base shop, there's about 13 now, okay? I used to have like 30, okay? I mean, they all quit, okay? So, I don't know what that number is, right? That's almost 20 grand a first, right? 20 grand, that's what it is. So, I plan on getting this number to grow with the people, but I need to add me another 13 firsts. That's the more sure way to do it, okay? And I can control that by building my base shop and getting recruiting going in my base shop. You see, I can control that. Kurt, you can control that, right? So you guys learned how to build a base shop now, right? So now go learn how to build some RVPs. It's through the recruiting, guys, okay? It's the only way to become free, guys. You can't get free without getting the recruiting going. Your freedom is going to come from that, okay? Right now, if you look at Rick, who's got recruiting going, you don't have any RVPs yet, do you, Rick? Yeah, but they don't do anything, right? They're gone basically for most of the time. I mean, it's you, okay? Okay, so, but you know what's happening. You probably have 5 to 10 to 12 identified RVPs in your base shop, I bet, right? If you can get them recruiting and understanding this concept in the next, 12 to 18 to 24 months, you'll probably have, somewhere between 6 and 12 firsts. Good firsts, I would imagine, right? All of a sudden, everything changes, right? And that all comes from your change to become a recruiter and not a transaction guy. 100%, okay? That's where that came from, okay? So, how do you do it, okay? The thing you do to get the recruiting going, right? Number one, you recognize recruiting. You got to get people focused that whatever you focus on, whatever you recognize, people do more of. Have you guys noticed that yet? Okay? You recognize it, okay? Really recognize and talk it up. If you've had a conversation lately with me, all I'm talking about is recruiting. That's all you're going to hear me talking about. Right, George? We had a conversation. What did we talk about for a half hour? That's all we talked about, right? Lynn, what have I been talking to you about? That's all I talked to him about. I mean, Martin, you name it, Kurt, everybody, when I'm talking to them, I had a conversation with Rick Miller on Saturday morning on my way to the office. What do we talk about, Rick? Recruiting. It's all you're going to hear from me. Jerry, you need to get recruiting going. I mean, that's all I'm talking about, right? Steve Voska, Steve Cross, what I've been talking to you guys about? Recruiting, right? No matter what you do, or not, if you do it or not doing it, you're not going to hear anything different out of my mouth. Okay, that's all I'm talking about. And some of you'll get it, some of you won't, some of you'll fight me. I don't care, because that's all I'm talking about. Because I've got a system now that if you have people, the business is just almost, I don't like to say this anymore when Jan gets mad at me, but it's so simple that everybody can do it. You don't have to, there's no training involved, really. There's almost no training involved. You get them to read the damn thing, they get results every time. It's incredible, okay? So there's no training. I talked to Mike Mendoza, he doesn't even do product training hardly at all anymore, do you? I mean, you're just, that's all you're doing. And you did 26 to 30 recruits. What did you end up doing? 27 recruits, right? 43 grand, okay? So you're going to get that to 40 recruits and you'll do 80 to 90 to 100 grand. I mean, you just will. It's just going to happen, okay? So what you focus on. Focus first on what people want. The one thing that I've always done to recruit somebody is if I'm talking to Jay Knott, I want to know what Jay wants, okay? That's what I want to know first. Because as soon as I know what Jay wants, then I can show him, I can get him what he wants, and people want to be involved with people that can help them get what they want. Period, right? Part of it's that little conversation I had with Rick, too. People want to be a hero. They want to do something great with their life. People want all kinds of things like that, So I'm going to find out what Jay wants. Where does he want to live? What kind of cars does he want to drive? What kind of travel? What kind of education? What kind of charity? What kind of hobbies or recreation? When does he want to retire? What does he not like about his job? What did he change or alter? That kind of stuff. I want to find out, okay? So then once I find out, right, then, I'm going to talk to him about our company. Because see, look, one of the things that's important, people, there's some basic objections. One is credibility. Is this company a good company? We have to answer that. We're not only a good company, we're a great company. We're not a good company, we're a great company. I mean, you couldn't even write a scenario as good as Primerica and the Citigroup symbiotic relationship. It couldn't get any better than that. If you're going to get in the financial service industry, I mean, you couldn't make it any better than getting involved with Citigroup and Primerica because it's the number one company in the industry. You've got everything. You've got tons of successful people. You've got a proven track record. You've got systems. You've got the whole 9 yards. It's unbelievable, right? You need to start feeling like it's unbelievable. Because if you don't feel like it's unbelievable, you can't transmit that feeling to these people, because people get involved based on how they feel. Okay? And then they justify it with logic later, okay? So they've got to feel that this thing's incredible. You feel it's incredible, right? that you feel. I mean, look at Daniel Alonzo. When you got started, you're in your early 20s, right? How old were you? You're 21. You're now 28, 29. I don't know. You're 29, okay? So you've been in the business for 8 years, basically. And 8 years with no college education, basically, right? I mean, you're just a high school grad, right? Smart guy, but no college education. Now you're close to $500,000 in income. Next year, you're probably going to jump to $1 million, okay? If you do things right, you get recruiting like we're talking about, you should jump to $1 million, okay? And you have... Think about that. Can you imagine how incredible that is, right? I mean, that's what professional athletes do. That's what actors that get a break do. I mean, that is unbelievable that you can go from that place to making $1 million a year. That's the business opportunity you're involved in, right? If you can't get excited about that, the potential to do that, what is wrong with you? That is incredible. You know how many people would love to make $1 million a year, or $500,000 a year, or $250,000 a year that just don't know any way to do it, right? Now, there's a lot of people you could show this to, and they go, "That's too much work. I don't see myself doing it. It's like a pyramid." But we're not worried about those people. Man, I just spent a minute thinking about those people. That's not who you're going to build a business with. You're looking for a Daniel Alonzo kind of a person, right? Somebody that gets it. That just wants a chance. It wants a coach, somebody to coach them, somebody to show them the way, somebody to be the mentor, somebody to believe in them, right? To encourage them, to inspire them in some way. That's what they're looking for, right? That's what you're looking for. Why are you here this morning? You're looking for some shred of inspiration or encouragement or something to get your butt going and go win, because you want to win or you wouldn't be here. We have a bunch of RVPs that aren't here this morning, okay? They're not on our team. Those people aren't on my team. I know that. You know, I'm not worried about them. I'm not going to say, well, I'm not going to do these anymore because these people aren't coming. I'm worried about you. Your butts are on the chairs, and I'm going to try to move you, okay? And you're the ones that we're going to do something great with, and we're going to build an incredible business. And that's going to happen. If they don't want to participate, forget them, okay? God bless them. I hope they figure out a way to do it somewhere else, okay? But I'm not going to let that stop me. And more important, that motivates me like crazy to get you guys going and get me going, so I could tell them and look at them and say, "You idiot! Why didn't you come to my meetings? Why didn't you hear? You're such a bonehead. You don't even know what you're doing. You're costing your family a fortune, right?" I mean, that motivates me to go get going. I don't feel bad about that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, how are you reacting to people not showing up and people doing that? It's just, how does that happen? Where do you want to go? What's your energy like? You know, our credibility is incredible, man. The other thing you got to focus on, what we do for people. Man, just show them what we do for people, okay? Did you guys hear that? I have this friend of mine. He was a professional golfer. Now he sells title insurance, okay? And I'm working on him right now, okay? And I played golf with him a few weeks ago, about a month ago, and he's telling me he's working really hard, like prospecting like crazy, you know. He's prospecting real estate agents to try to get to do title, right? And you know, I don't know what he makes. He probably makes 100, 150 grand or whatever, okay? And I gave him a tip. I said, you know what you should do is you should, because he helps these people to sell property too, because he used to work for Mike Ferry, which is a real estate training sales organization. So he has a bunch of ideas on how to help real estate agents sell real estate. So I said, you know, what you need to do is you need to put together, go to your happy clients that you've satisfied, that you've really helped, and help them write you a testimonial on what you did for them, like a personal written letter from them. And I said, this is what's going to happen. You're going to ask them, and they're not going to do it. So then what you do then, I said, his name's Ola. I said, Ola, what you do then is you let them know, say, look, would you mind if I wrote the letter myself, and then I'll give it to you so you can approve it. If you want to make any change, you can make any change, and then I'll let you sign it after that. I'll write it for you, okay? Because I know you're busy. Because they're not going to do it, okay? But you do that. And then he does this, and he gets 5 or 6 of his clients that are really happy to do that, and he does it. He calls me, and I sent to Go Solo. You may have heard it. I said, man, my business, and I called him later. He says, you can't believe how many referrals I'm getting, and my business is exploding just off that one idea. Just doing that. Because, see, if you want to recruit people, if I was trying to recruit people, I would try to get me a portfolio of 5 or 10 or 20 or 30 of these letters and have a book and say, look, I want you to look at this book. I want you to see the way people feel about me and what I do for them, because this is exactly how they're going to feel about you and what you do for them. All right? And if you want to be a part of a business where people love you and they're grateful and they thank you and all that, man, you can be part of a better business. See, if I were you, I would go back to my clients and I would get me 5, 10, 20 letters of people. The time you spend to do that will help you recruit people. You with me? It makes a huge difference, okay? It takes those people from being doubters when you want to close business or especially close recruit. See, it's great to close business, but I want to recruit people. I want to get people seeing what I do is great. If you get involved, you're going to be able to do great things. You can feel good about what you do for a living. You know how few people feel really good about what they do for their livelihood? Very few people feel really good about what they do for their living. Very few. Most people, they just tolerate it, okay? But they don't love it. They're not excited about it. You know, it's incredible. They don't want their kids to follow in their footsteps. You know how few people want their kids to follow in their footsteps from a work standpoint? Almost nobody, right? They want their kids to do better, right? Look, I want my kids to do better, but they're probably not going to do a lot better, okay, than my business. I mean, that's just a fact, right? Think about it. I mean, and then the other thing is the market. I mean, you know, when you look at our market is gigantic. I was driving from Glendora yesterday. I had to meet somebody in Glendora, and then I drove from Glendora. I bought a new house out in the desert, so we're having some work done on the house. So I'm driving from Glendora to the desert yesterday, about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, right, where I just went in traffic. And every time this happens to me, because I'm not in traffic a lot, because I don't drive unless I have to. I mean, it's very rare that I'm in traffic, right? But when I'm in traffic, I can't help but turn to Jan and say, Jan, can you believe that we're not exploding right now with all these friggin' people? They're all broke. There's bumper to bumper all the way from Glendora all the way to friggin' Redlands, past Redlands. There's nothing but cars. There's nothing but people. And the population is exploding. The housing is exploding. They're building houses on all these dairies where it stinks like crazy. There's flies, and people are buying those houses like flies, right? I mean, come on. Think about this. How could you not explode your business with this marketplace in Southern California? How could that be? You can't be telling anybody your story. You can't be telling anybody your story. You should be telling everybody your story, whether they get involved or not. Tell them the friggin' story. Let them make up their own mind whether they want to be involved. Let them know what's happening to people in our business that are doing this, what we're doing for people. And our marketplace is gigantic, man. You look at what's going on, the middle market is being ignored by the rest of the industry. That alone, folks, is gigantic, okay? Nobody's helping our clients. Who's helping our clients right now, man? There's nobody helping our clients. When was the last time you went in a house and they had a financial needs analysis from another financial service firm? It never happens. And then the benefits, man. You can invest in your future, flexible hours. You can choose your work schedule, your vacations. Promotions are unlimited. Freedom to build a business you want. No bosses. Ownership. Trips. Partnership. Recognition. Tax benefits. Equal opportunity for everybody. International expansion. No swings in the economy. Doesn't affect us. Education on money and finances. Dreams. A backup career that you can learn part-time. A proven system. A chance to help families. Income's unlimited. The chance to develop leadership skills. I mean, you got all kinds of stuff. Plus, if you start a business, the cost to run a Primerica business is nothing. It costs nothing to run a Primerica business in relation to a typical business, right? It costs no money to run a business right now. Think about it. I don't know. What are you spending on your business a month right now? What do you spend? 6, 7. So you're spending about $70,000 a year, and this year you're going to make? Okay. So you spent 70 grand. 400 minus 70 is 330, right? That's your net. What's the percentage? What's the percentage?
Less than 20.
Huh?
80%.
10% would be 80. No, 20% would be 80, right? So it's 17.5% is the cost to run your business. That means you have an 82.5% gross profit. You talk to any business owner anywhere, and you sit down and you show them your overhead, and you show them your gross, and you show them your net. If he or she has a half of a brain in their head, they'd have to be interested in getting in your business. Just that. Forget about what it is. Who cares what it is, okay? You could be collecting garbage. If it was that good, you should do it, okay? It's that good. Come on. And if you grow your income, if you get your income to $1 million, I guarantee you your overhead maybe it goes to 100 on $1 million. So now you go to a 90% gross profit. You guys all know if you grew your income, you don't have to grow your overhead very much at all. Right? I have my overhead's about 10% of my gross right now. Okay? I'm trying to get that to 5%. Because that's possible to do in this business. Because I don't need any more people from this point forward. I mean, I just don't. What do I need them for? Right? I just have a little base shop and hierarchy. I don't, that's it. And every time I expand, I'm expanding all the time because what's going to happen when you promote an RVP, are you going to promote any RVPs this year, Kurt? Okay, are you going to make sure they leave your office and open their own office? Okay, so that when that happens, right, now you just expanded, how many RVPs in the next end of next year? Okay, so if you have 4 people and they go open their new office, right, on their own, so you got 4 people, you expand your business by that amount, and your overhead on those offices is 0. Now you expand, you got 4 new locations with no overhead. Look, how many of you have your own office in the room? Raise your hand if you have an office. Keep your raised hand. Never been, I don't know where your office is. Never been there. 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 Never. Well, I have been to that office. Never been there. Never been. Never been there. Don't know where your office. Don't know where yours is. Don't know where yours is. Don't know where you. Well, you know where yours is. Never been there. You're close too. I know, but I never been there. Yeah, I've been to yours. All you people here, never been to your office. I haven't even bought you a plant. Yeah, we get See's candy every year, right? But see, look. If you're going to own a business, how could you have a better business to be able to explode and expand? And all of you are in the process of expanding your businesses. Promoting RVPs will open other offices, right? Which is all part of my business. It grows. My cost is 0. Don't you get that? Huh? How could you not sell that? How could you not sell that to people? Come on, you should be selling that to high heaven, man. It's incredible, okay? Oh, the support, man. You got that. You got the support. Tons of support, the home office. You've got publications, Primerica Online, Primerica.com. You've got mentorship. You've got technology support. You know all the support you have, even though you probably bitch and complain about the support and how it works and all that. The bottom line, let me tell you, it's better than anything else out there, and you're not paying anything for it. Okay? It doesn't cost you anything. Think about that. It's incredible. They're running contests for you. If you take advantage of them, they'll take all your key people on exotic vacations all over the doggone world. It costs you no money at all. I mean, how good is that? You got a business on your own, you'd be paying for everything. Right? I mean, it's incredible. How do you find your clients? We already talked about that earlier, right? What's the income potential? It's ridiculous. I mean, are there people that are successful? I mean, we got, all kinds of people that are successful. And then you just finish with the last question. If I'm talking, I got this from Jay. I stole this from Jay, so I'm going to give credit, because I learned that from Rick today. Okay. On a scale of 1 to 10, well, first of all, this is the better question you ask somebody. You got to ask, when you're going through this, you ask people, listen, Jay, based on all the stuff I went through today, what do you think, what would be your thought, and by the way, there's no right answer, what would you think it would cost to start up a business with all the features and benefits, the Citigroup affiliation and all the very things that I mentioned today, the compensation and all the support and Primerica Online, all the things we talked about, right? What do you think it would cost you to start a business like that in the financial service business today?
Probably a lot more money than I got.
So, but there's no right answer.
$10,000?
Then, okay, great. You know what we get? I do this every Tuesday night in my op meeting. I find a new person. I say, what do you think it would cost? You know what the typical answer is? $50 to $1 million a year. $1 million. More likely it's closer to $1 million than it is 50. And then if they say, whatever the number they say, if he says 10,000, and I say, so what would you say if I told you it was $199, Jay? I'm not kidding. What would you, other than you're kidding, what is it? What would you do? You'd go ahead then, wouldn't you? Because it'd be silly not to at that price, right? Especially when you consider you value it at $10,000 and it's $199, it'd be almost foolish not to take advantage of that, right? Okay, great. And you take away the money objection. Just take it away. Ask them what you think it would cost. They'll tell you. Then that's no longer an issue, right? So now he's going to get something he thinks worth 10 grand or 50 grand or 100 grand for $200. How does he say no now? Can't. He can't say no. So on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being I'm ready to get going right now, and 1 being I'm not really interested, after what I've shown you, where would you say you are? 10. All right, let's go. Get started. This is what you need to do to get started. And then you just go through the process of what he needs to do to get started, with emphasizing the most important thing you need to do is get in the field. Those 10 people. Set up those appointments with those 10 people. That's the most important thing, right? That's what you do. See, because, I just went through it basically, right? That presentation, if you go through that presentation when you're sitting down with somebody one-on-one, if they don't want to get in, you don't want them in. Okay, at that point. They don't get that. You don't want somebody working with somebody that doesn't get that. Okay? And look, raise your energy. Okay? Raise your energy. You got to get I don't mean get up and yell like I did this morning, okay? I'm not saying that, okay? But my God, raise your energy level, okay? About what you're involved in and how excited you are about being where you are, okay? Because people can feel it, and that's how people get involved, because how they feel, all right? It's how they feel. It's not the X's and the O's, it's how they feel. All right, you got to get people feeling like this is the place. Okay, we'll see you guys next month, all right? Tear it up.